Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk setting up the season finale on The Walking Dead. The most recent episode just ended last night, and I tell you what, something clicked for me. How layered the storytelling has been, especially at this point in the story. And we will compare it to the comic just briefly, and that's because in the comic it was rather simple. It wasn't as complex and as layered as it was in the TV show, and I love the show for that. There's a lot of effort they're putting forth here. They didn't just throw shit on the screen and assume we're going to love it because it's The Walking Dead. They actually put effort in weaving this story together. And I'm not saying Kirkman didn't with the comic. It's just a little trickier, and it's harder to do with a comic when you're doing only 22 pages to interweave a story without making it predictable and stretching it out. Kirkman, I strongly feel, needed something to just show up, smack us silly, and call it a day, and that's what he did. But with Kirkman's story, and that's what makes it so unpredictable, is because the characters were at the hilltop. They get introduced to this new Negan guy. They're on their way home. The Saviors stop them. They kill them all, send one back with a message. Negan, go retire because you're done here. And then they get attacked at Alexandria the next day. There's a shootout. The Saviors run off. Rick and them give chase, but they can't find him. Abraham's dead, and they're like, what do we do now? Andrea says to, Andrea's alive still. Andrea says to Rick, and Rick is hanging on the gates of Alexandria, and he's like, I don't know. I'm really hoping we get that scene, even though it's not going to be a cliffhanger. I'm hoping we get that scene somehow in the show. Just him saying, I don't know, and looking a little nervous. Anyway, so from there, they decide they're going to pack up. They're going to go to the hilltop, and they're going to really find out all the information they have on this Negan guy, because they're a lot bigger than Rick assumed they were, or a lot bigger than they made him out to be, which is a fail on Rick, because I think Rick in the comic only kills like 5 or 6 of them. Rick on the show, we can understand he's surprised there's more because he killed a hell of a lot. Anyway, so Rick in the comic load up, they go. It's a long trip, so it's overnight. They sleep in the thing. Boom. Saviors surround them, yank them out of the the van, whatever, line them up, and it's game over from there. Now in the show, it's weaved beautifully, because we have this character who, from episode 2 of this season, arguably from the very beginning of the series, but from episode 2, they've been dealing with something new. A seed was planted by Morgan in Carol's mind, and that seed was about how he recognized she doesn't like killing. He can just sense it. He can feel that vibe off of her. And he plants that seed in her head, and this is something that was in her that she didn't look at, didn't pay attention to. It was hidden, but because Morgan planted that seed, it's been sprouting since episode 2. Well, it finally broke her, and she left. Because of that, we have Morgan now on the road looking for her. That could potentially put Carol and Morgan out of the Negan story. Or it could potentially put them into a different storyline, like the Kingdom, perhaps. Or maybe it does bring them back around. Let's say they get captured and brought in front of Negan. Bong, it brings them in front of Negan. Which I don't know if that's the case. I don't believe that's the case. Anyway, then what else do we have? We have, Rosita, Daryl, Denise going on a run. Denise gets popped, and it's the same guy who popped her from episode 6, who now Daryl was going to kill, decided he was going to help them, and he does help them. Now it's eating at Daryl, and you can feel that off him. I love that one scene where he's just kind of flicking that Dennis name tag that Denise had. It was, the name of her brother or whatever. So Daryl is going to go after him, and he's going to correct his mistake and kill Dwight. So Daryl goes after Dwight. Now you got, Glenn and Michonne and Rosita going after him. So now you have those 4. They do their little thing, and then bong, they get caught. So now they're tied up. They're most likely going to get brought out and knelt down in front of Negan once Rick and gang get caught. Now back in Alexandria, you have Rick and gang, who this Savior thing has been building up since episode 8-ish, or technically no, 6. We could just say 6 straight up, because that was the very first, right? If I remember it correctly, I'm trying to speed through this. But anyway, so Rick and gang know Michonne and them are out there, and they should have been back by now. So either they get a message that we have your people, or they just decide, listen, they've been gone too long, we need to go out there and get them. So they go out there and get them. So now we have this, interweave story between character development, character conflict, conflict inside characters internally, and conflict between different characters. We have love going on, we have hate going on, we got relationships starting, relationships ending, and this is all interweaved in the current story as it's moving forward. And now we have Rick and the gang going out there. They are out there, shit goes down, whatever happens in the season finale, obviously a trap is set. They get Rick and gang, line them up, probably tie them up, at least their hands. Then they're going to bring out Glenn, Michonne, Daryl, Rosita. Now they have a whole list of characters to line in front of Negan and pick them off. See, before, imagine if it was something that I was thinking they would stick more closely to, and now I'm fine. I'm loving what they did. I'm loving the changes they made from the comic. Before it would have been, they killed Denise and Rick is like, okay, load up. We're going to the hilltop to say, what the fuck, dude? How many guys are they really? Tell us what you know. Tell us more. And then they get caught. That would have been the end of it. What is that, one episode? But instead they gave us this perfectly interwoven story that I'm loving. I think season 6 right now, without even watching the season finale, is my all-time favorite season, hands down. And it's the first season that has beat the season 1, because the season 1 to me was just, damn, I love it so much. They would have to screw the whole season finale up bad for me to, not like season 6 as much. But another thing, too, is it's little stuff. It's not just between the relationships and the characters and the conflict and everything going on and interweaving the story and getting characters out here who we didn't think were going to be out here. It's the little things like how I keep bringing up Daryl and that damn crossbow. Daryl, Dwight, and the crossbow all the time. I keep bringing this up, that Daryl has a crossbow, he gets robbed by Dwight. Dwight kills Denise, and then Daryl shoots at him, he drops the crossbow and runs away. Daryl gets a crossbow. Daryl's like, well, I'm going to go kill him. He goes to kill him. He gets shot in his shoulder, drops the crossbow. Dwight now has the crossbow. So whatever happens are at the mercy of Negan right now. They might not know it, but they are. So once that ends and everyone goes back to Alexandria to restart their new lives under the rule of Negan, Daryl's not going to have his crossbow again. I love that. And I'm hoping that does continue. Dwight will have the crossbow. Most likely, I don't see why he wouldn't. But I want that to continue. I think that would be so cool if they have that bickering back and forth. And even if Daryl can manage to get it again, and when Negan and Dwight and the Saviors come to Alexandria to get half of their supplies, it would be freaking awesome to just see Dwight be like, oh, well, I'm taking this or whatever, and Daryl's like, no, and then Rick is like, Daryl, just give him the damn crossbow, because Rick doesn't want to blow his cover because he's trying to work with them so he can rebel against them. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, that's my appreciation for how they are layering the season finale, the storytelling, and everything in the build-up, and that versus the comic. Even though the comic is great for what it is, I still really enjoy the comic story. There's enough differences there to still enjoy that comic story. Just because there's certain things that happen on a show doesn't make you like the comic story any less. So I'm loving the build-up here, and I just wanted to have this little discussion covering and showing appreciation for how they're layering the end of this season. Fantastic. I love it. Give me your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done chatting. It's your turn. I'm done talking. It's your turn. I don't know why I said chatting. What the fuck was that? I'm out of here. Subscribe now.